What's going on, my soul family? Welcome back to another episode of the Awake with Jake show. On today's episode, I'm going to be dropping in and sharing with you 3 answers to questions that I have received from followers all around the world. I believe that these 3 questions are some of the most difficult struggles that people have in their relationships. The 3 questions are around feminine testing, dry spells, and how to navigate a man's scattered energy. Now, before I get into all of this, I want to share with the women that right now you can still get 50% off my Magnetic Feminine course for just a few more days. So, if you would like to heal your inner masculine, reprogram your dating mindset, and attract the conscious masculine man that your heart yearns for, go to jakewoodard.com/magnetic to register today before that 50% discount ends. You do not want to miss this powerful course that I have designed just for women and how to attract a conscious masculine man. So let's get right into these questions because I'm really excited about these answers. I think that it's going to be very helpful for people, whether they're single or in an intimate relationship, because what I have learned in my life was through painful experiences. And I believe that the best teachers are also the best students. And I think that sometimes our ego can become a little too developed and think that we know so much. But it's at that point that the universe will humble your ass. And I've had that happen to me many times throughout my life. And it still continues to happen time to time. So that's why we're brought through these powerful experiences in life, because it's actually an initiation for us to further awaken. We are brought through pain in life so we can further awaken. Every time we go through something that challenges us to look within, to heal an aspect of ourself, a wounded aspect of ourself, we awaken a little bit more. We break free of this broken template. We break free of this matrix programming that keeps us enslaved into our mental suffering. Through this healing work that we do, through letting go of the pain that we've been holding on to for so long, we slowly start to awaken. And believe me, if you've been there or you're there right now, you know how painful it is when you first start to wake up. You feel like you're like the sober person at a party full of drunk people when you really start to awaken from the matrix. And it can be very scary. You feel very isolated. You feel very lonely at times because you're working through so many dark aspects of yourself that you might have repressed for a very long time. And now, my personal experience with this, growing up in a broken household with an abusive father and a heroin addict sister, I dealt with a lot of different stuff. And I had my own internal struggles, from obesity to alcoholism to anger and violence. I was that person that crawled out of the darkness to start to really embody my joyful, loving self. And just the other day, I went to the fair with my fiance, Melissa, and I really embodied my inner child. It was so fun to go on rides, to play games, to eat fair food, and to do things that my heart had been yearning for so long. Because for the past 7 years, I had get caught in this really serious spiritual trap of thinking I need to be and look a certain way in order to, quote unquote, be spiritual. But that in itself was creating so much suffering for me because my ego was throbbing on that. I thought I had to be a certain way, look a certain way in order to fit into this spiritual community, to be spiritual, to be a quote unquote somebody. But what I found through all of that was I was actually creating more suffering. And it's when I let go of those stories, those old programs of who I thought I needed to be, and just gave it all up. It was like the universe just blessed me with it all. You have to be willing to give it all up in order to be blessed by it all. Mm. So let's just take a breath right now here together in this moment, breathing in with me and release. Mm. I'm so grateful to have you here with me. I really am. From the deepest part of my heart, it's just you and me right now in this moment. I'm so grateful to have you here with me. Thank you. I see you and I appreciate you. Let's get into these 3 questions. I got off on a little Side tangent there, but sometimes we got to do that in life. That was what spirit was coming through in that moment for me. So the first question is, this is from a man. How to self-regulate at the point of feminine testing. Now, for those of you that are not familiar with what feminine testing is, the women are probably going to laugh a little bit at this right now because it really is a real thing. And what I feel like feminine testing is, I'm sure there's different variations of what people think. What I feel like and what I've experienced is feminine testing to me is basically when the feminine test the masculine strength, the masculine consciousness to see if it's sturdy enough to hold her waves. And I say her, it could also be a man, their waves of feminine energy. So the feminine will test the masculine to see if the masculine is strong enough to hold their waves of feminine energy. How grounded is the masculine in this moment? How present is the masculine in this moment is what the feminine is saying. And if the feminine feels like the masculine is a wobbly stool or a wobbly boat, then they probably won't open their full, beautiful radiance and heart to the masculine if they can't trust the masculine strength, the masculine consciousness. So, if you feel like a woman is testing you, feminine testing, then this is when you must be the clearest with your decision making, with your direction, with your purpose. This is when you must be the most grounded and present to navigate this feminine testing. Now, it may sound like, what do you think we should do? That's what she'll say to the masculine in that moment. Or, I'm okay with whatever you decide in this moment. She's putting it back on you to make a damn decision. Now, a lot of men, including myself for a very long time, really struggle with making healthy, clear decisions. This is a simple practice that a masculine man can do is to make clear decisions. Every time that you put the pressure back on the feminine to make all the decisions, to lead all the time, you're basically telling her that you don't trust your masculine direction and you want her to be in her masculine. Not to say that she can't lead, not to say that she can't make decisions, because she can and she can do a damn good job of it. But if you want to be the masculine in the relationship, it's about learning how to lead consciously, how to be present, how to be grounded, how to be strong, but also have gentle compassion. This is a dance of the masculine and feminine. Women will often test a man to see if his masculine energy is strong enough, is sturdy enough to hold her. If you want to access the depth of a woman's well, then you must have strong, conscious integrity of your masculine energy. If you want to access the depth of a woman's well, the deep, healing, nourishing water, then your presence must be clear. You must be grounded. You must have direction in your life. If you are scattered and you are wavering, then she will not trust that and she will not open fully to that. I can assure you that from my own romantic relationship, I see this. When I am wavering, when I am not clear, I can see Melissa, I can see the energy of her body not being fully open in that moment because I'm not being clear with my masculine direction. And I can sense it. I'm like, all right, I need to make a decision. I need to lead right now. I need to step in. I need to be more grounded. I need more present. I'm constantly self-regulating and checking in with myself to see, how am I showing up? How am I showing up in this relationship today? How am I showing up in my mission? How am I showing up for my damn self? How am I taking care of my physical health, my emotional health? How am I showing up? And if more men started to ask themselves this damn question of, how am I showing up every day? Am I showing up just to stroke my damn ego, or am I showing up to be of service? Am I showing up to inflate my ego? Or am I showing up to be of service? And for the men listening right now, I want you to ask yourself that question. How are you showing up in your relationships, in your friendships, in your business or your work or your job, your mission? How are you showing up in this life? Because for the longest time, I floated through life, not giving a damn about anything but other than what I could get out of this life. How much could I take? How much could I get? That's all I cared about. But then my entire life started to change when I started to focus on helping other people, to being of service. And you don't need to be some spiritual healer in order to do this because you can do it right now in this moment by start giving back to the world. As a masculine man, we want to have a mission, to have a purpose, to have a meaningful life is to be of service. And especially in your romantic relationship, when you are grounded, when you are present, when you are anchored in your strong, clear direction in your masculinity, the feminine is much more likely to open to you. Now, this is not a guarantee because she has her work to do as well. And if she has masculine wounds that she carries in her body, then she will not open as well. That is another thing I always like to throw in there as well because it's not all about just a man doing the work, all about just a woman doing the work. It takes work on both sides. And if that woman has had a bad experience with masculine men her whole life, she probably doesn't really trust masculine energy. So for the women listening right now, how much do you trust masculine energy on a scale of 1 to 10? 10 being the highest, 10 being the most trust. And a little while back, I asked a woman that question and she said 2. And I said, do you see how that's coloring your relationships with men because you don't trust masculine energy? So you animate so much of your own masculine energy to protect yourself because you don't feel safe in your body. I just want to remind the women listening right now, and for my brothers that are listening as well, for the women anchored into this collective energy, if we could just hold that support for the women in this moment, listening collectively, holding the support for the women to allow them to feel their feminine essence flowing through their body, to allow them to feel the heartbeat of the universe pulsing through them, to feel the sensual, sexual flow like a piece of silk blowing in the wind. You see, we've gotten so far into this rigid masculine world that women are being forced into fitting into this world of gray suits and constipated looks on their faces. Everybody's walking around in these gray suits looking like they got to take a poop. And that's really what the rigid masculine is all. We're in this over masculinized world because the sacred masculine has been stripped away. The sacred masculine supports the feminine to open fully and flow through everything. The feminine is the constant flow, the ever-changing flow, the ever-changing direction of the wind or the song that you're hearing right now. It is the dance of life. Life force pulsing through our body. That is the feminine energy, the breath that moves your body, the energy that flows through you right now in this moment, the blood that flows through your veins. The feminine essence is the movement of this life, of this universe. And we've gotten so far from that because we're locked in this masculine, logical mind that's causing so many people to feel burned out because they overdevelop masculine. And then when a woman is constantly in her masculine, she's trying to get into a relationship with a masculine man. She's either sexually repelling him because she's too much in her masculine and that doesn't attract masculine, or she's attracting more of a feminine man who's more passive, which is nothing wrong with that. But maybe he lacks the ability to lead, to make decisions. So she's constantly forced in this masculine role. Now, this can be very hurtful to the feminine because the feminine wants to soften into their body, to feel all of the feels, to feel the sensual flow. And maybe even sometimes that flow is a little bit of chaos moving through their body, a little bit of darkness moving through their body. And we have to embody both because all human beings, whatever gender you identify as, we have both masculine and feminine energies. So these aspects of ourselves need to be embodied. Now, You'll know a healthy man when you meet one because they've integrated with their feminine essence. They're not afraid to cry. They're not afraid to cry. And I'm going to be really honest and vulnerable with you in this moment. The last few days for me have been very challenging. I've been going through a lot of emotional turbulence. I've been feeling a lot coming up for me. And you know what? I haven't fought it. I've allowed myself to feel. I've allowed myself to cry. And there's nothing wrong with that. Learning to cry like a man is a good thing. Cry like a man. Feel your feelings. And I'm speaking to the men in this moment, learn to cry like a man. Don't hide your feelings like a little boy. And to the women right now listening as well, feel it all. Feel it all moving through you. Allow yourself to really feel and anchor into that. Let's move to the next question. I'm flowing right through this right now. How to navigate a man's scattered energy when I want presence and connection. All right. So this comes from a woman. My response to this is you are probably frustrated with him because he's not taking the time to see you and connect with you. When the masculine becomes scattered and distracted, it can be very hurtful to a woman, right? So if you've ever had a man in your life who maybe you were with as a woman who became very scattered and distracted, maybe he's on his phone a lot or he's working a lot or not paying attention to you, you start to feel a little neglected in that relationship. You start to feel like, why is he not seeing me? Why do I not feel seen? Now, one of the feminine desires of the masculine is to feel seen by the masculine, One of the desires of the masculine is to see the feminine. And I'm talking about conscious masculine and conscious feminine. The masculine, something that the feminine, this is a tip for the feminine right now. The masculine operates best through direct communication. Let me just say this again, please, for all of the feminine people listening all around the world right now. The masculine operates best through direct communication. For example, hey, Ricky, I feel that lately you have been distracted. I want to feel your deep masculine presence. Are you able to give me that? Very clear, very direct, puts it back on him to make a decision. Yes, I can give you that. No, I cannot give you that. What are you talking about? Let's talk more about this. Now, if he's truly masculine in that moment, I guess he could change, then he will likely take that and go, okay, I need to adjust this. If he cares about you as well, that's another component of this. He will take that and say, okay, I need to fix this. That's what the masculine mind goes. I need to problem solve this. I'm not seeing her. How can I see her more? Okay, I need to adjust what I'm doing. I need to spend less time focusing on things that don't matter, because a lot of times the masculine gets very distracted with things that don't matter, and see her more, pay more attention to her. Allow him to problem solve and come up with a solution, okay? If you don't, and you do it for him, you emasculate him in the relationship. So now another component here too is if he disregards how you feel or is unwilling to change, do not accept that. Do not accept a man who just disregards how you feel and is unwilling to change. Because you're settling. You're settling for less than your deep heart yearns for. And when you do that, you always feel compromised in life, and you're not living life in alignment with the universe because you're settling for less than you know you deserve. So if he's not willing to meet your needs, don't tolerate his unconscious behavior. Do not tolerate the unconsciousness of the masculine when they're not meeting your needs. Now, if he's not meeting your needs, but you're also not expressing your needs to him, then how can he possibly make an adjustment? He can't. He can't make an adjustment if you're not clearly expressing, clearly communicating through direct communication with the masculine. Now, as the feminine, don't deliver that message in a masculine way. Be direct, but also still embody your feminine essence. How you communicate with the masculine is really expressing it through your body. That's a huge thing for the feminine. The next time that you feel triggered by something, instead of shutting down or maybe yelling and screaming, Express that anger, express that sadness through your body. Like, oh, I feel so hurt in this moment, and express that through you. Yes, you can still use words, but express that. Why are you not seeing me? Why are you not present with me? This hurts me. If more women were honest about how they felt with a man instead of closing down and people pleasing, relationships all around the world would, boom, change so drastically over time, of course. But once again, the masculine has to be receptive to your needs, to your desires. And if he's disregarding you and he's not listening to you and he's not seeing you, do not accept the unconsciousness of the masculine. Please, for your own sake. Viewer discretion advised. Please do not accept the unconscious behavior of the masculine energy. All right? Because a lot of times, you know what I mean? You know what I'm talking about. The masculine becomes distracted, scrolling on their phone, looking at social media, or focusing on their next big business deal, closing the next business deal, making more money at their job, trying to get more jacked in the gym. They find lots of ways to become distracted in their mind. And the imbalanced masculine will live in their mind because they fear their heart. The imbalanced masculine will live in their mind because they fear the strength and the vibration pulsing through their body of their heart. Now, when a man integrates his mind and his heart, that's a powerful combination. But a lot of men in this world are living only in their mind, and they're not connected to their heart. Now, your heart is what connects you to this human experience. This heart that beats in your body in this moment is what makes you human, is what makes you feel love, feel compassion. To even feel heartbreak is all through the heart. It's what makes us human, but also what makes us divine. We came here to love. We came here to feel it all. And that includes pain as well. That includes darkness. Learning to embrace all that we are is what makes this human experience beautiful, not spiritual bypassing it with all of the bullshit that people are reading in the books and not actually implementing in their lives. I'm here to remind you to not just learn stuff, but also to learn how to embody it, to learn how to embody the things that you are learning, to practice it in your life, not just hear about it, not just think it sounds nice, but say to yourself, how can I apply this to my life? How can I actually bring this into my life? Question number 3. Most often, when there is a lack of physical intimacy, it's reflecting a lack of emotional intimacy. So the question is, guidance on dry spells. We haven't been intimate in 3 months. I'm sad. Now, I really believe that physical intimacy is a reflection of emotional intimacy. So if your sex life is non-existent and totally dried up in this case, then there is most likely, I have pretty much seen in the years I've been doing this work, 99.9% of the time, that something else is going on energetically, emotionally. Either, you're not being seen, you're not communicating clearly, you're not expressing yourself. And this is on both sides. Both people are not taking the time to really connect in an intimate way. You see, when people hear intimacy, a lot of times they think just physical sex, two bodies rubbing against each other, using each other's bodies to masturbate, right? When people hear that word intimacy, they often just think the physical, but there's so much deeper components to intimacy. Intimacy happens long before two naked bodies hit the bed sheets, okay? It's how you communicate throughout the day. It's how you flirt and dance with each other. It's how you look at each other. It's how you compliment one another. How present are you with each other? Are you taking the time to see each other? And I call this cultivating love with the flower, just tending to your flower. both of you, tend to your flower. Take the moment of the day, even if it's just for 5 minutes, and just really see each other, appreciate each other, tell each other how much you love each other, and mean it. There's so many components to intimacy, and that's why I believe that so many relationships burn out because they put all the focus just on lust. They build a foundation just on physical intimacy. And like anything physical, it burns out over time. I'm sure you've maybe bought something new in your life. Maybe you bought a new car, bought some new shoes, bought a new pair of clothes. How long did that feeling last? A day, a week, a month? Eventually, it loses its glimmer. So when you build a relationship on lust, on just physical attraction, and you don't actually really love that person's energy or love that person's heart, and you try to continue to relate with them, down the road, you start having problems. And that's when you have to go deeper. So if you aren't cultivating intimacy outside of just physical intimacy, you will feel like the flowers within your garden are dying because these flowers need that emotional connection. They need that love. They need that nourishment from both people. This is not just the man's job or the woman's job. This is from both people. Both people in the relationship are responsible for cultivating this garden, for bringing more love into the container of the relationship between the masculine and the feminine dynamics. And the thing that's really beautiful about masculine and feminine is you can apply this to all relationships. You can apply this to all relationships. This isn't just man and woman. This is any relationship because we all have both of these energies flowing within us. That was a lot of fun on this episode. I hope that this brought you immense value. If it did, please right now take a screenshot of it, share it to your Instagram story, and tag me @_Jake Woodard, and I'll be sure to give you a huge thank you. And I love you so much. Once again, please, for the women listening right now, take advantage of that 50% discount before it ends in just a few days on my Magnetic Feminine course. Go to jakewoodard.com/magnetic to register today. As always, stay open, stay loving, and stay connected to that beautiful source within you.